I think it's about time we lay our thoughts out about Coach T. I want to go off on a little tangent, if you will. So grab your brew, man. Give me a few minutes here, and I want to hear your thoughts about this. The standard is what we've heard for a long time. It's one of the best sports mottos if you just take the Steelers out of it. Sets proper expectations for the team, for the organization. But look at this standard. Was this actually created by Mike Tomlin? Or is this just something that he is more voiceful of? Follow me on this. The Steelers, we have had a unique situation with Coach Cowher and Tomlin with back-to-back 15-year coaching careers. Now, I know Tomlin's been here 18, but I'm not going to compare 15 to 18. I'm going 15 to 15, right? So Bill Cowher, 1992 to 2006, Tomlin, 07 to 2021, right? Obviously, we know some more years, but I'm looking at 15-year windows back-to-back. For these 15 years, Tomlin and Cowher have set a standard. So I want you to listen to this here. Just bear with me for a minute here. My average offensive rank in their 15-year careers, up or down, both Cowher and Tomlin ranked 13th. They had a 13th best offense in the league amortized for those 15 years. The average yards per game is a total offense were 327 yards a game for Cowher, 355 yards a game for Mike Tomlin. Pretty similar. Their passing offenses. Cowher averaged the 20th best passing offense, kind of a time of the era that they were in. Tomlin averaged 11th best passing offense in the NFL. That's obviously a product of Ben. Their rushing offense, Cowher averaged the 7th best. Tomlin was averaging as the 20th best. More of a passing team, right? Mm-hmm. Same thing, kind of similar. Scoring offense. Tomlin was averaging the 13th best scoring offense in the NFL. Cowher was the 13th best scoring team in the NFL. The standard is the standard. Flip it to defense. Cowher's average defensive rank in those 15 years he was 6th. Tomlin's was 8th. The average yards they give up per game, Tomlin was 287. Tomlin's 308. Passing defense for Cowher was 12th. Passing defense for Tomlin was 10th. Rushing defense for Cowher was 7th. Rushing defense for Tomlin was 9th. Scoring defense for Tomlin was 8th. Scoring defense for Cowher was 7th. What does that standard give you? It gives you no last place finishes since 1988. Both coaches have lost to bad teams at times, right? You and I remember the Jeff Blake to Carl Pickens 4-12 Bengals, 2 of those wins being against us. We know about the recent failures against losing teams. It gets you a winning percentage of 620 to 640. 623 for Cowher, 640 for Tomlin. It's come down a tick if you average the last 3 years. Maybe it's in the 630s somewhere. Both of them 1-1 in Super Bowls. Cowher during that time was 12-9 in the playoffs. Tomlin was 8-9 in the playoffs. So Cowher did have a better playoff record. Now Tomlin's 8-10. I mean, I could go on for a long time about Cowher and Tomlin. But it sounds like the standard is being upheld, isn't it? Is it Tomlin's standard, or is this the Pittsburgh Steeler way, the Steeler standard? Fans who criticize it, I get it. I'm not saying you don't have a legit beef, but let's not pretend this is Tomlin's standard and really go on this dude like this is something he created, and this is all him, and we were fine without him, and we're going to be great whenever he leaves. But here's why I think the standard is not the standard with the fans, and I think you may agree with this. It's reasonable expectations. I know you're not a baseball guy. I'm a fair weather baseball guy. But have you ever heard somebody from Pittsburgh talk about the Pirates? And what they say? With the Pirates, you know what? Let's just be competitive. Just get us to August when preseason football is here and we're happy. Just keep us in it so we can watch meaningful games through August. Okay. Why is the Steelers standards higher. Now they should be. It's they're a better franchise overall. But what the Steelers' expectations, and I'm gonna wrap this up here, and I want your thoughts, because I was told by a lot of Steelers fans, with all the complaining on the Twitters and the Facebook and the pods, that the standard is playoff wins every year, or it's a failure, or you tank to get better players. I was told by Steeler fans from all the complaining Twitters, Facebooks, and pods, the standard is Super Bowl or bust, or tank to get better players. And lastly, I was told by a lot of Steelers fans on all the complaining on the Twitters, Facebook, and pods that Tomlin won with Cowher's players and Cowher won without a franchise quarterback, and Tomlin wasted prime Ben. I got a couple of names for you, and I want to just give me a facial reaction. I'm going to read a couple of names, and I want your reaction to these. Mark Rippon, Stan Humphries, Chris Chandler, Trent Dilfer, Kerry Collins, Brad Johnson, Rich Gannon, Jake Delhomme, Matt Hasselbeck, and Rex frickin' Grossman. What's the answer to that trivia question? All quarterbacks that made and won Super Bowls during Cowher's era. There was a lot of non-franchise quarterbacks in that era, so don't give me that shit.
Rex Grossman.
Ask Green Bay, how easy is it to win Super Bowls with franchise and Hall of Fame quarterbacks? They've had one for 40 years before Aaron Rodgers got there. They've been to 3 Super Bowls in 40 years. Ask Marino. Ask Steve Young. Ask Drew Brees. Ask Philip Rivers. How easy is it to get to a Super Bowl when you have a franchise quarterback? It ain't that easy. It's not a given. But I was also told by a lot of Steeler fans on the complaining Twitters, Facebook, and pods, Tomlin's playoff wins are not impressive because they beat Matt Moore and kicked field goals to beat Alex Smith. But yet, I was also told that they better win a playoff game with Mason frickin' Rudolph in Buffalo against Josh Allen. By the way, I do want to give a Facebook shout out to George Suber. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right, man. We go back and forth on the Uppity Yinzers Facebook page. Great post about all the playoff stats, the Ben mistakes and all that stuff. Great way to express your opinion, your disappointment in the playoff success, but back it up with why it's not all on Mike Tomlin. It's all on the entire team. Some of the games might be on Tomlin. Some of them are on Ben. But great post. I think that's how all fans should think and be able to back it up with some logic. I'm starting to be more open to moving on from Tomlin, but I'm not sold. But I am not going to allow fans to sit there and disrespect this man. 292 regular season games he has coached. He has been out of playoff contention in 1 game.
That's crazy.
No losing seasons for 18 years, which is the craziest stat, except for Yinzers, who they think is everybody. Just because we're happy about that doesn't mean we accept it. Just because we're happy about that doesn't mean that's the goal. This blatant disrespect to this man, I'm not going to have it. I do think a change could be coming into makings, but I don't think it's just him.
No, I think I like the way that you framed it. I agree with you on a lot of areas. Tomlin definitely. I don't know. Well, I have an idea of why Yinzers are seem to be super hard on Tomlin, but when you look at the league overall, like get out of Pittsburgh and just look at the league and look what other teams deal with and have like when I talk to teams, people from other fan bases, and I just mentioned Tomlin, everybody, oh, we love him. There's a reason for that. You know what I mean? Everybody can see, how great of a coach this man is. You know what I mean? The players want to come play for him. You know what I mean? They love the organization, but I mean, a lot of them, you hear them say they want to come play for him. So, I just don't. Well, I guess the bigger problem that I have, kind of overall, with the criticisms, are there's a lot of doublespeak happening. It's we had the Killer Bees. it's oh, well, they should have won more games with them. That like those guys are too super talented, all Hall of Fame caliber. They should have won more games with them, especially playoff games. But then when you look at how when one of them has been hurt almost every playoff game, one of the three, and then they don't win, you can't say, oh well, Tomlin should have won when you just told me how great that these guys were, and you should be winning with them. When you don't have them, then you can't keep that same standard. There has to be a a drop in expectation. You know what I mean? So you can't keep that. That's what I'm kind of being by double speak.
Yeah.
A lot, especially like from these even outside of Yinzers, like these pundits. I mean, in July, we were the worst team in the division. It was going to be losing record, all this talk. You know what I mean? So why should we really respect what you have to say now? Because you've shown, like, if we're judging on coach's standard, you know what I mean? Losses, that's a loss in my opinion. Like, so how many losses have these people who make all these opinions? You know what I mean? Like it's we get caught up in the moment where people kind of forget where they were, and it's always a hot take or whatever. It's like a week to week thing, and it just gets frustrating, man.
Late as usual, GB. Welcome
Hey,
in. Welcome
I'm
in.
a busy man.
The football
What I
banquet.
say?
So you
Man,
heard.
people.
So you know about the Tomlin rant that I went on. Other parts. What is Juan's given his Tomlin criticism / the state of the Steelers with Tomlin? What is yours, sir? Especially with what's going on with the decline. What is your overall thing with Mike Tomlin right now?
Listen, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie at the end of the day. Okay? The Steelers standard has been the standard. It hasn't really changed. Like it's a black and white version of the standard. Like literally. That's exactly what we've been saying. The only difference is that, and I've been saying this from the beginning, like people don't even understand what greatness even looks like. They talk about it from a mediocre standpoint, but how hard is it to be competitive for 18 years, bro? How are you kidding me? In the NFL where you got all these dynasties and the ultimate parity and salary cap and everything, and this dude has only had one game that was meaningless. Dude, that blows my freaking mind. I don't understand how people they don't get that. They'll get it when he's gone. You know what I'm saying?
I would say you take Mike Tomlin and Pittsburgh Steelers out of that equation, and you just read in any sport. You coach 292 games, and only one game was meaningless. And you tell me that that's not impressive.
Dude, that's insane.
That's impressive in Little League.
Yes. Yes.
But please continue.
100%. And I'm with you too. I agree with it. May be time. I think that every coach has its everybody has their expiration date. There's an ending to everything. So this might be the time. It might be in a year. I don't know. But that's not our decision. But as long as he's continuing to be competitive, y'all shouldn't be calling for his head. That's the way I look at it. Like, this is what you ask for, to be competitive every single year. And this is why I always say, like, we, the Yinzers, could not, I promise you, bro, we could not take a 3-14 season. All you gotta do is look at PNC Park, look at the Pirates. How they doing over there? What them fans looking like? What they saying? That's all you got to see. Like, and the stadium ain't the stadium is at 20% capacity and stuff like that because you want to work with winners. The stadium is constantly sold out year after year after year after year, like constantly sellouts, game after game after game, right? Because we're competitive every stinking year. And at the highest level, Two, college teams can't even say they competitive like that every single year, bro. Like 18-year stretches. Like, think about that, dude. That's absolutely impressive. And I think that people don't talk about that enough, but they won't talk about it until he's gone because it won't be even touched. Like that'll be the thing. Like, well, shoot, that record will never be broken again. That's going to be one of those records. That's what's going to happen. Watch.
The way that the standard is with the stats that I read, is that something that is sustainable? Building off of a run game, building off a strong defense, playing or counting on mistake-free football, because we've seen how the last couple games, right? You got these 5 or 6 forced fumbles and recovered 0. Now, granted, if those bounce the other way, we'll see. We could be talking about a completely different narrative, right? Is building that same model, which is the standard, which is not my point was in my rant, it wasn't a Tomlin thing. I think it's a Steeler thing as the standard's a standard. But can you continue to build a franchise in today's NFL with that model?
The way that it's constructed right now. So here's the Super Bowl standard. Okay. And you tell me if this lines up with our standard at present. All right. Super Bowl standard is you have to, in order to win a championship, right? You have to have a QB1 who is a franchise QB1, period. Okay. So check the box and say, all right, in the last 7-8 years, the Steelers had that.
No.
Nope.
So if you don't have that, in most cases, you'll drop below losing seasons and what have you, right? But yet he still keeps there. But that's not the point. My point is that so there's a debate that people say that Tomlin made these decisions on who the quarterbacks were going to be. And I wholeheartedly disagree. I don't believe that. And maybe I could be wrong, but I go back to, and I think that this is where, you know, it could be a whole different narrative. Is if we did things a little bit differently, and we provided Mike Tomlin with a franchise quarterback moving forward, like before Ben got long in the tooth, we might be talking about a whole different situation, in my opinion, because that's what you need in order to continue. Okay. And I always take it back, and it's crazy because we playing the daggone Ravens. When Ozzie Newsome retired, he left them with a parting gift named Lamar Jackson. When Kevin Colbert retired, he left us with a parting gift named Kenny Pickett.
Oops.
Dude, I think the standard is always a standard, but there's certain things that you need in order to take yourself from good to great, bro. And we just haven't. That's the part that people don't realize. Like, we just haven't had the QB1 play to make that happen. Like, it just hasn't been there. That's just the facts.